There is a space where you are all you need, where you are all you want. All there is here. Welcome to the Source Connection, conversations about who we truly are, the possibilities of creation and the new earth we are birthing, with your hosts, Tarah Long and Liz B.
Liz B here. Welcome to one more episode of the Source Connection. I am with my sister and co-host Tarah Long. And before we share some silence and breath, let's just go over a few important things. If you haven't yet, please go to our website at www.thesourceconnection.us. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, you will receive our manifesto. We wrote that a little while ago. It's infused with activating codes. And we're not going to be spamming you at all. We're very mindful and heartful about our newsletters. So they go out about once a month, unless we have any special announcements. You can find us on Odyssey, YouTube, Spotify, Reason, Patreon, if you would like to contribute to the work that we're doing. And if you haven't yet, you can click the subscriber button and not miss any announcements. Anything else?
No, girl, you got it. You got it. Come and find us. We love you.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at connect@thesourceconnection.us. We love hearing from you.
Yes.
I invite you to take a moment to relax in this now moment. If it's available to you, close your eyes. If you're sitting on a chair, bring both feet to the ground. You can maybe sitting cross-legged also, or lying down. Just find a comfortable posture. And let's take a few moments to just tuning in to our internal landscaping. Tuning in to our environment at the moment, noticing. Bringing awareness to the breath. Let's focus on making our exhales a little longer than our inhales. If the mind starts to wander, just bring it back to the breath. Start noticing the subtle quality of your air, of your breath, how it infuses your bodies. How it can expand beyond your physical body. Are you breathing it or is it breathing you? And now, if you've noticed any points of tension in your domain, I just invite you to send some breath there and feel the expansion, feel the creation of more space, more ease, softness. We're going to end this a different way today. You're going to pucker your lips and you're going to inhale. And exhale through the puckered lips. Let's do that a couple more times. Place your hands on your eyes. Like bring in some darkness into your eyes for a moment. And then slowly move your hands away as you open your eyes. And welcome. Do you know who I see on my hands when I do that? My mama.
You do.
Yeah, her little face and her little smile like this, like it's so sweet every time.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, you're sweet mama. Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit before we started recording, and I ended this time together with a little bit of awareness into the body and the tension in the body, and just what's happening in our physicality. And Tara and I were talking about working out and feeling the gratitude for what our bodies are capable of doing, and feeling the tenderness for the times in which we feel that our bodies are not matching what we would like to do, and just being in that relationship with the physical body of just awareness and devotion, respect, and companionship.
Yeah, I like that, companionship. Yeah, oh boy. I know we've talked before here about bodies and the journeys. And if you listen to one of our first episodes with Tom Barnett, we talked a lot about chronic fatigue syndrome. He and I shared that in common, and we talked about that and the deeper roots of that and messages of that. And so yeah, I've had such a journey with my body. And I was just sharing with Liz that I felt, because I've, as much as I can, I've always kept up like walking and yoga and, hiking when I can and all of that, and stretching and having my little morning routine with breath. And when I was in college, I was actually a kinesiology major. So I was studying, the exercise science and the science of exercise and all. Oh my gosh, I was like in the gym all the time. And I just remember my shoulders were like so beautiful. That was like my favorite part of my body, right? But of course there was what's that?
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that their shoulder. I love it.
I just remember being like, ooh, I love my shoulders, right? Because I was working out all the time. And but there was a lot of imbalance going on. Of course, inside I was a young woman of 20, 21 years old. And at the height of what I thought was like my height, the peak of my physical prowess, I got mono. I got hit like a sack of bricks with mono, and I was flat. I was just could not do anything. If you've ever had mono, I don't know, but it's just no energy, whatever. So I was like, okay, my body at the time I was frustrated and upset and all of that. Now I know my body was like, okay, this isn't our way right now. This isn't our way. Like there's too much of that and not enough of other things going on, right? Like I think we talked about before, I was eating like fat-free cheese and all of these really awful, horrible things. Anyway, so then in my 20s, I got really sick, chronic fatigue syndrome, blah, 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 all the things. And just about, I don't want to say maybe 3 weeks ago or a month ago, I started getting like, I wonder what else is possible with my body right now. I started getting an excitement to try something else, to do something else, to do maybe a little more, and maybe incorporate some weights and, other things. And my body has felt like it, every time I do something really strenuous, then I'll have days of recovery, right? That's kind of been the pattern with my body, but I'm like, I'm going to try something else. So I started just 2 weeks ago, I started doing the Daily Burn, which is I guess a plug for them. I love it. It's an online thing. And they have literally whatever you want to work out. They have yoga, they have weights, they have cardio, they have just everything. But they also do this class every day called the Daily Burn. It's like 9 a.m. Eastern. I think you can do it live, but I always do the recordings because I do mine around 8. But it's everything, right? I got these little weights and I'm like doing cardio and doing like bar dancing and just everything. Like everything is incorporated. And of course, for the first week, I was so exhausted and my body was so sore, but I was like, I'm doing it. Like, yes, the first couple classes I had to stop and rest a lot, but I did it. I listened to my body. I had some water. I just waited for my heart rate to go down. And then I turned it back on, even though maybe I didn't want to, but I did, but all these people, there's at least 3 trainers in every class. So You're just like, really, there's a lot of energy, and because I wouldn't do it if I were just in my living room by myself. I wouldn't do these things. I just wouldn't, I wouldn't, like, I need like someone, and it's important to know what works for you, right? Some people are they know all the moves, they can do all the things. But anyway, the point is that the invitation is what else is possible now, because you're always changing, your body's always changing. Oh my God, I've been like a sick, weak little child my entire life, I mean, I say that with love and compassion and not to state something to solidify it, but that's been my experience most of my life with my body, having to go very slow and having to be very mindful, and many good reasons for all of that. But yeah, I'm just excited. I'm just very excited that something new is emerging, and I'm like kicking ass. Yeah.
Do they do disclaimer? We're not getting paid by the Daily Burn. If you want to sponsor us, here we are. This is not in partnership with anything.
It's not at all. No.
Are the 3 trainers modeling different levels of the exercise?
Exactly. There's the main trainer who's doing the thing, and then you've got the modified over here, and then you've got maybe the extreme over here. You know what I mean? So you've got modifications every level. You can go at your own pace. Yeah, it's really beautiful, and they really hit everything.
Cool. That's really cool. When you talk, looking back at your life and noticing a certain kind of like body structure or relationship with the body and all that, it makes me wonder if I had dedicated myself to sports and things, because I'm very athletic, but that was never a thing that was recognized like in my family or invested upon in that way. I was even recently talking to a friend and talking about like my favorite game to play when I was young. And it's this game, and I don't know if you guys have it here, but you split the space in 2, and you have teams on each side, and you'll have the ball, and then you have to hit your opponents with the ball. And if they don't catch the ball and hold it, they're out, right? So whoever gets all the team out, whoever does that wins. And I was so damn good at that. I was agile. I was just like my body coordination and everything. And recently I ran a Spartan race. I've always wondered, like, when those moments happen, like, oh my God, I could probably have been an Olympic athlete if I had that was something that was presented to me in a way I wanted to fix. And my mom felt like people where I grew up were not competent enough to guide me through that. And she was worried that my body would shift and shape in a way that was not, the most optimal and all of these things. And when I was home, last time I was home, we did a circus class, and I used to do circus class when I was young. So it was acrobatics. It was like I don't know how you call the swings, the big swings with the net underneath.
Yep.
Those things I did growing up, and how much I loved just moving my body, and I danced and all of that. But it was never something that was cultivated in that way of like, you're really good at that stuff, and you may want to apply yourself to that. And I have no regrets, but sometimes I wonder, like when I ran the race, and I was just like, I'm good at this stuff.
Yeah.
I won,
Yeah. I wonder. There's so many different paths we could have taken in our lives. And when I was little, I was in gymnastics, and I remember winning trophies, and I was very good, very agile when I was a young child. And then my parents divorced, and then my mom and I moved far, far away, and we didn't really have any money for anything extra. And I wonder too, like, had I kept going with certain things, what would have been different? But alas, it wasn't meant to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I oftentimes think also of like just something that's so deep in cultivating as like a certain sport or a certain type of workout, whatever thing, right?
Yeah.
That very demanding like that. Sometimes I wonder, like, I'd like to expose myself to that kind of stuff from time to time to just see what our physical bodies and in communion with our mental, emotional bodies, because it's all connected. And I realized through that Spartan race that what sustained me was my yoga, was my breath work. Yeah. Even though there run 3 times a week and things, but I was like, it's here first. What I'm capable of is here.
Yes.
Then it relates to the physical body, because the minute I say this is too hard, this is too much, I'm not going to make it, my body gets that signal and goes, all right, guys, we're shutting down.
Yep. We're done.
Incredible to notice that, and just the amount of stamina and power that just being able to sustain breath and focus for a long time in activities that you may think, well, that's not training per se, but you are conditioning the mind to allow for you that step further, to hold your arms for 12 minutes in a way that you're like, I can't do this. And you do it. And you're like, oh shit. Okay.
I did that. Yeah.
What's possible. And so that relation between the mind and the body and the capabilities of that, it's real fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And breath, being able to control breath is something that's really, hard
Yeah. And our spirit, right, is involved in all of that too. And for me, that's what I'm feeling so much now, is my spirit is like a little kid, like, I can't wait to see what's going to be today. What's it going to be like? Are we dancing? What are we doing? It's something new. It's something different. It's something that I haven't been excited for so long. And it's all in all these years on my yoga mat too, I know have really, it again, like you said, it may not be training, but it is training something. We are training ourselves, in a different way. And also, if you notice, like,
People that do yoga every day, they have a very specific body and they're toned in a certain way, right? So the physical body, I'm not saying it doesn't do that, but it's not that kind of boot camp type of like 5 more, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For a different expression. And so when you do those things, you also discover a new part of yourself, like a new something in there that some people may have not touched yet. Like, oh, wow. Oh, okay. Well, I like this, or I like that, or this is, and as you said, like the kid excited every day, like, oh, what's next? What am I going to? And it's such a fresh way of living because every moment is new.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we do the same things, we think we're doing the same things, right?
Yeah.
I have my routine that's very specific. And within that routine, there's changes, but never you do it the same way, with the same mindset, with the same mood, with the same energetic imprint. It's always changing.
Yeah.
And having that reverence for life and for every moment makes everything really sacred.
Yeah, there's the opportunity for that, for sure.
Yeah.
If we start our days. Mm-hmm.
And I get the brain excited too when you say that, because the brain doesn't know what's going to happen, right? So it's in that.
Yes.
Like,
yes. I know myself. And for me, if it was like, okay, this is the workout you're going to be doing, and it's the exact same thing 3 times a week, I would not last very long. Right. Because my personality, what I know about myself is I need variety. I need things changing. If I'm going to be doing something like that. And so for me to go, I have no idea what we're doing today. Like, it could be really easy. It could be really hard. It could be something I've never done, something I've done, but I have no clue what the 30 minutes is going to be like. And that for me is like, boom. Like so if you're like me and you need a lot of variety, do something like that. Because going to the gym for me is like a big old snooze fest. It's like, now I'm going to go on the treadmill, and now I'm going to go lift my weights over here with this same machine. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it's literally like death to my soul. Just like when I was young and I worked in offices, and it was like the lights and the same thing every day, even though of course we can come at it with a wonder and awe, and you can go to the gym and have that same experience. But I know that's not my jam. So I'm like, okay, let's do something, find what works for you that may not work for anybody else. That's what we're always saying here, right? Like, find what works for you. And then maybe that'll stop working, and then you pivot or you shift, you find something else that works for you.
Yes. I will also play devil's advocate here, because in my practice of yoga, I've done many 40, 90 days of the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's every day, right? It's
same thing every day. Yeah.
Day. And there's also something that one discover about themselves through that process that's very beautiful, and that's very soulful, because there is an awareness of you that's always present. And you get in touch with that awareness through the sameness, and I'm air quoting here, of certain movements and breath. And you start to notice that you're actually not the same. And even if that awareness is that, it's also modulating, right, according to your relationship with the same thing that you're doing. And I think it develops discipline, it develops focus, because you need to keep bringing yourself back in, especially when you're like, I just finished one a couple of weeks ago that I was just like, oh my goodness, I did not enjoy this like at all, because I did not enjoy the set of exercises much.
Yeah.
And part of me was very excited to finish, and part of me was very excited that I actually stuck with it through it and didn't like step outside of that, because it was not exactly what I wanted to do. And so there's both sides to that, right? To like, then I think that translates into relationships and other things, because we are confronted with patterns, and we are confronted with sticky places, right, within ourselves. And to others. And if we're always looking for something new, it's very hard to stay in those uncomfortable places as well. And so I meshes out in that way. So I would encourage people to try something. Try it for 21 days, right? They say it takes sometimes 21 days to habit. And so, and I'm not saying everybody should do that. I'm just saying if that sparks it, you can go, oh, and you can, pick
sure
to do for 3 minutes a day, that it's the same every day. And how is it that you do it?
Yeah, there's definitely value in and just finding the discipline and doing something every day. Like there's a lot of stuff that we all do every day, right? That I have practices that I do every single day, a certain meditation, all of that. For me, the working out 3 times a week, just showing up and doing that 3 times a week is the discipline. You know what I mean? Like that's like, I'm good. But I hear you, and there's value. And if you're getting value out of that, and if you find that that's really showing you new parts of yourself or unfolding in a certain way, it's beautiful. Yeah. So really just whatever, there's no right or wrong way to do life at all. Just find what.
How do you do you?
How do you do you?
And only you can do you. So
that's right. And something I'll bring into our conversation is I have a dear friend that we grew up together from age 0 to 8. And we were inseparable, and we're 4 days apart. I was born 4 days after her. And then my parents divorced and we moved away, and I didn't see her very much. And we completely lost connection, lost touch. And then the age of social media and all of that, a few years ago, we came back together again. And I'm hoping she'll come on our podcast, but I'm like, oh, so we'll see. But she does many beautiful things. But she started to do these human design readings. And she did my human design the other day. And it was she's like, oh my God, Tarah, our charts are like so similar. Like human design is very specific, or can be. Mm-hmm. And she said, there's so many things that are so overlapping that are just wild, So anyway, we got on a call and she read my chart. And of course, it's just like anything, like astrology, any of these tools, they're, if it resonates, if it feels good, okay, cool. And if it doesn't, you leave it. There's no hard and fast. There's no black and white. There's no, like, this is absolutely the way that you are, is your human design, However, there were things that were totally like resonant and validated. And there were some very cool practical things that I was like, that's really helpful for me. Like the way that I'm a generator. And so the way that I work best in life and it really resonates is to have yes or no questions asked to me, or like 2 options. But if you're very open-ended with me and like, hey, Tarah, where do you want to go for lunch? And I'm like, oh man, but if you're like, hey, Tarah, do you want to go have some Indian food or some Mediterranean food? Then I'm like, then I know right away. Like I'm a gut person. It takes me a millisecond to know what it is that I want, but I have to be confronted with yes or no or options. Anyway, so that's for anybody who knows me, just a little tip. But something else that was really cool that was in my chart is that, and I know this about myself, I know I'm here to make things more beautiful, better. I can see a bigger picture of a situation, a large perspective, and go, ooh. And in order for me to go, okay, that needs improving, expanding, whatever, that needs something. I have to have the skill or the quality of being highly judgmental and critical about the thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see it and then to say, how can we make it better? Right. So that's something in myself that it can sound really bad, right? Like I'm highly judgmental and critical. And it doesn't mean I'm like highly judgmental about a person if they're good or bad, but it's about a situation where I can go, you know what? Yeah, you can do better. I could do better. Like this can be better. It's the alchemy really of something, to make it more beautiful. But anyway, I thought that was really cool. I'm like, yeah, I do need that skill. That is me. I am that. And it's not necessarily in a bad way, but almost giving me permission, because sometimes I'm like, oh, am I totally like judging that whole thing? It's like, well, actually, that's what I'm here to do. So yes, I'll take it.
It's so reassuring, right? To like, the way I see like the human design, the other modalities, the gene keys, astrology, and all of that, it's like it helps you with a little bit of a roadmap to understand yourself, right? And it also brings so much compassion to yourself of like, oh, and others. So my husband studying those, and he did a reading for me recently where he did the gene keys with the human design, and then he threw the I Ching, which there's a lot of that in the readings just by themselves, right? Because they kind of base themselves in those modalities. And it was just like, oh my God, I just kept falling in love with myself. Because there was like, it's not about this is better than that, or it's about, oh, this helps me understand how I tend to operate and I tend to think or perceive or relate. And that gives me compassion about how I've done things or how I tend to do things, brings more awareness in the places that I'm like, was this working for me? Is this working for how I'd like to be, etc.? And yeah, I highly recommend. I even told him, I said, you need to start doing this for people because this is beautiful. The gift from yourself to yourself. And the question I had after he did it was, are we even choosing anything? Is this is this free even a real thing? Because so much of it were in those lines, were in that map that I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Just extraordinary.
Yeah.
You know, be able to layer it like that and to look back and to also have a little bit of awareness about where it could be going, you know, if you have those tendencies, and why not? And so if anyone here is not familiar with that, you can find, you know, places online where you input your info and they will give you a bit of info about that. And of course, it's not like a detailed reading like that, like we got, but and if my husband ever decides to do that, I will interview him and link him up.
Yes.
It was just extraordinary. I totally
it is.
Saying.
Yeah, I love that. You said it's just like you just fell in love with yourself 100 million times in the reading. You know, I was like, me too. It's so nurturing to your, you know, to your little tiny self of just being like, oh, is that okay? Yes, that is, you know, and we can choose to, you know, I guess we can choose, or we have the illusion that we can choose. No, I know we could choose. We can choose to, you know, whether or not we have a certain situation. And if someone asked me an open-ended question, I could make the effort to figure it out for myself, of course. However, it's almost like, what is your path of ease here? You know, what is going to make life and things and situations easier, more nurturing for you? You know, it's almost like hopping in the river on the raft versus swimming upstream. What's going to help you just flow a little bit more, you know, in the river of life? And and Michael is actually doing readings, so I will link her up on this one until, or if we get your hubby doing it, because she's really fantastic.
Yeah. It allows for us to be tender with ourselves. And when you said, oh, so when somebody does present a question for me in this certain way, and in the past, I may have judged myself like, oh my God, why can you make up your mind? Like, it's not complicated or everything. And you just go, oh, all right. Doesn't mean anything. It's just that it's easier for me that other way. So you don't have to be so critical about your own, you know, kind of MO and how things, as you said, are easier or harder for you. And it just brings up, and you're like, oh, I get
awareness, it. And in relationships, you know, I mean, how cool would it be to, you know that too about partners and friends and your children, you know, like, oh, this is how, you know, because she, you know, my friend was talking about something about her child, and like when she understood this certain thing, just like everything got so much easier and opened up with their relationship, you know, with them. Because she was like, oh, my kid isn't lazy at all. He's just this is, it's a different way. Yeah.
And yeah, we did that. We did that for his reading and then for my properties reading. And then I got curious, just like you were saying. I was like, man, I wonder like if I could have like a little bit of a reading for the people that are closest to me and dearest to me, so that me understand them.
Yeah.
That helps me have more compassion for the ways that they operate, and also helps me relate to them in a way that may be easier for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And so much beauty and so much, it's such a gift. It really is.
It's a gift. It's really just a gift to yourself. It really is. Just like learning your love languages with your partner. And like, how do they feel loved?
Talking about the love languages, I've always felt like there can be, I think they're more than just whatever the fives they do, and then they do some X or whatever thing. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna quote Mr. Rogers here. There are many ways to say I love you.
Yes.
Ways to say I care about you, right? And so many ways now. How do we recognize that?
Exactly.
That's right? Because it took me years to realize that when my mom used to sit with me and she would tell me I needed to like wrap my books, my school year books in plastic and all that, and I was just like, oh my God, this is annoying. She was showing me love. Her love for like keeping them, and her love for teaching me how to keep books. So it's us really recognizing that, I think, in ourselves again, and then others, like, that's showing love when they do this. They're showing love. They're showing that they care when they say this, when they, I don't know.
And it may not be. Yeah, go ahead.
How much of conflict is miscommunication? It's us not understanding the other, how they are expressing and what they're trying to express through their ways.
Yes. I had a boyfriend once who expressed his care for me in gifts and little gifts that he would bring me. And it was sweet, but I always was just like, I want more time with him. That's because mine is quality time. Like, yeah. Okay, your gifts, whatever. Will you spend more time with me, please? So, and then once I understood that he was showing his in that way. And anyway, so it can really just open up communication, like Liz is saying, and just being curious and asking questions, and inevitably all of these things, not all of them, but like how do you feel loved, most likely comes from your childhood, right? How do you feel loved? And maybe it's something you didn't get enough of, when you were a kid, and now that's how you really feel loved. So,
and how do you express your love? So it turns back, and maybe this is our wrapping point, is the work that we do on ourselves. And I say the work in quotes, but like the attention that we give ourselves, the curiosity that we give ourselves, right? Who is this being? Who am I? Why things like this? Why, when somebody says that, it triggers me? And, just that curiosity towards yourself really is the best gift we can give anybody, because that's what really unfold the essence of us, not the conditionings, and we start to realize and understand the conditionings, and we can move beyond them, right? It's that like the shadow work of like, how can you move past something you don't know it's there? So it's just that recognition, and it gets deeper, it gets juicier, and sometimes it sucks to have to look at yourself and be like, wow, I haven't realized that that's what I've been doing, and that's really hurt. And I haven't noticed that I even am triggered to, and then I say things or I act this way, and so it really is, in my opinion, the best gift we can give be around this.
Yeah, it is. And so then the invitation is, what do you feel called to for yourself right now? What do you feel called to? Maybe ask, what else is possible for me? What else is possible for my body right now? What else is possible for my mind or soul or spirit or whatever you want to call it? And what is it that I feel called or curious to explore? Maybe it's human design, maybe it's love languages, maybe it's none of these things, and it's totally something else. And just being with yourself every day. and that
Yes.
tenderness, and that love letter.
Mm.
So this episode will likely be one of our last of the year. So just I think it might be fitting to wrap up with a question. I would like to ask you a question, Liz. So one thing is, what was your biggest, what did you learn about yourself this year that shines for you? And what are you most looking forward to in 2023?
Mm. What have I learned about myself? I've learned to soften. That was a big theme for me this year. I've learned that the more I soften, the more fluid I am. I've learned to not hold things and people too tightly and give them the space and the dignity of where they're at. And when I do that, I've learned that I am much more enjoyable with myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've learned that the more I ask questions and the more I learn, the more I align myself with the remembrance of who I really am. And the superficial things just tend to fall away. And I continue to learn that I'm a person of depth. And so I am not very interested in the shallow waters. And what I'm looking forward to is just the continual unfolding of that and the integration, which has been a lot of my work this year, of all of me, and I guess I think the COVID experience, let's call it that, really allowed for me to disrupt my own attunement with myself for a while so I could have that contrast to really understand what is it that makes sense to me in my life and how I want to live my life. And so 2022 has been a little bit of a kind of like a reconnecting to that and just letting the background noise be the background noise. Like, I don't know, forefront. It can always be the background noise. I can leave it there and I can choose to listen to it or not. And just having more of that clarity, because I needed to forget for a while to be able to remember in more depth. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to earth-shattering pleasure in 2023.
Woo!
You can take
More,
that.
Source Connection After Dark coming soon, where we're going to talk about Liz's earth-shattering.
You can take that in every possible way.
Yeah.
Me, I'll give you examples of how that translates. It's the ability, like I was on my run today, and at the end, there's this beautiful flowers, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, they smell like honey, and the bird came right by, and I'm in full like allowing of life to just present itself to me, and that to me is just earth-shattering pleasure. It's not necessarily, can be, your body and all of that, but it's so multidimensional, and just being so present with life that you see the gifts in every corner, in every moment. So
yes.
And all those questions go back to you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Liz. That was beautiful. Oh, yeah. I mean, I could say a lot of that. 2022 is definitely a deepening of opening my heart in the specific COVID experience, as we say, to all paths, really, and to just holding space for all that I don't understand. And also a new level, a new layer for me of really holding my own heart and putting it first, and in a way that serves everybody, but really saying, really working on boundaries and intimate relationship. It's really special for me to just hold those, to see those, to hold those, because I'm pretty good at it on a periphery, friends and family and all of that, but in intimate relationship, it was really beautiful to do that so fiercely for myself. And so that's really deep love. And I look forward to every day. So it's interesting, that even ask the question about something in the future, because we're just here right now. But I think I was thinking about all the things that I'm excited for the Source Connection too, and, the guests I know we'll have, which all of our guests are amazing, and our new After Dark series, which is coming soon, and our new offering, which will be coming soon. I'm really excited for that, because Liz and I have spent, the past couple of months working with some really amazing beings. And I just found that the space that we create when we're together with these beings is so unique and so rich and so full, and, like nothing I've ever experienced. And I'm just so excited that has come through us for the collective, for tribes of people, for individuals. And I'm just really excited to put that forth in the world and see how it all unfolds.
Yes, we're ready to ignite.
Yes, baby.
2023.
Yes.
And as you said, tomorrow is just a promise, right? Because when it's here, it's today. So what are you looking at today? What's the planting right now that'll be your reaping of what you've every day done, thought, cultivated. So
thank you for being here with us today. We enjoy being with you, even if we never ever see you. We love you.